The art of audience whispering, unlocking the secret language of connection. Welcome, dear listeners, to another illuminating episode of the BlackCEO Podcast. Today, we're about to embark on a transformative journey that will revolutionize the way you communicate, lead, and connect with others. We're diving deep into the insights I gained from an extraordinary conversation with Jennifer Banks, a visionary leader whose wisdom is reshaping the landscape of business and inspiring global change. Now, what? Jennifer Banks isn't just another corporate success story. She's a force of nature, a communication virtuoso who's dedicated her life to bridging gaps and fostering understanding in a world that often feels increasingly divided. Her methods have not only transformed countless organizations, but have also sparked a movement of authentic, empathetic leadership that's making waves across industries and continents. Now, let me ask you a question. Have you ever found yourself in a situation where your words seem to fall flat, where despite your best efforts, your message just didn't seem to land? Or perhaps you've experienced the opposite, those magical moments where you felt truly heard, understood, and connected. What if I told you that the difference between these two scenarios isn't just luck or innate talent, but a skill that can be learned, honed, and mastered? That's right, my friends. Today, we're going to unravel the mystery of effective communication. We're going to explore why some speeches leave us checking our watches while others have us hanging on every word. We're going to discover the secret sauce that makes certain presenters captivate their audience while others struggle to keep attention. And at the heart of it all is a simple yet profound truth. Understanding your audience is the key to unlocking the power of effective communication. Now, I know what some of you might be thinking. Understanding your audience, that sounds great in theory, but how do I actually do that? Well, buckle up because we're about to dive into the art and science of audience analysis. By the end of this talk, you'll have the tools to become a communication powerhouse capable of connecting with anyone, anywhere, anytime. Let's start with the story that Jennifer shared with me, one that perfectly illustrates the transformative power of truly understanding your audience. Picture this. Jennifer was preparing to give a keynote speech at a major tech conference. The organizers had given her a brief. They wanted her to talk about leadership in the digital age. Sounds straightforward, right? But Jennifer didn't just whip up a generic speech about leadership and call it a day. No, she went deep. She spent weeks immersing herself in the world of her audience. She read the blogs they read, attended the meetups they frequented, even learned some of the coding languages they used. She discovered that many of these tech professionals were grappling with a sense of ethical responsibility in an industry that was moving faster than regulations could keep up. When Jennifer finally took the stage, she didn't just talk about leadership. She spoke directly to the hearts and minds of her audience. She addressed their unspoken fears and aspirations. She challenged them to be not just leaders in innovation, but ethical pioneers in a digital frontier. The result? A standing ovation that lasted for minutes. Attendees were coming up to her afterwards, tears in their eyes, saying things like, "It's like you've been reading my journal. How did you know exactly what I've been struggling with?" That, my friends, is the power of truly understanding your audience. It's about creating a connection so deep, so authentic that it feels almost telepathic. And the best part? This isn't some mystical ability reserved for a chosen few. It's a skill that each and every one of you can develop. So, how do we do this? How do we become masters of audience understanding? Well, Jennifer shared three key strategies that I'm excited to break down for you today. First up, research, research, research. Now, I can almost hear some of you groaning. Research, that sounds like homework. But trust me, this isn't about dusty books and endless spreadsheets. This is about becoming a detective, a curious explorer of human nature. Jennifer suggests starting with the basics. Who are you speaking to? What's their age range, their professional background, their cultural context? But don't stop there. Dig deeper. What are their hopes, their fears, their dreams? What keeps them up at night? What gets them excited in the morning? Here's a little trick Jennifer shared. Use social media as your reconnaissance tool. Follow the people you'll be speaking to on Twitter, LinkedIn, Instagram. What kind of content do they engage with? What topics get them fired up? What jokes make them laugh? But here's where it gets really interesting. Jennifer doesn't just stop at online research. She advocates for what she calls immersion experiences. If you're speaking to a group of firefighters, why not spend a day at the fire station? If your audience is made up of teachers, sit in on a few classes. get a feel for their daily lives, their challenges, their triumphs. Jennifer shared an example from her own experience. She was once asked to give a speech to a group of deep sea welders. Now, Jennifer knew absolutely nothing about deep sea welding, but instead of panicking, she saw it as an opportunity. She couldn't exactly go underwater herself, but she did the next best thing. She spent a day on an offshore rig talking to welders, watching training videos, even trying on the equipment. When she gave her speech, she wasn't just some outsider talking at them. She was someone who had made a genuine effort to understand their world. She could reference specific challenges they faced, use their jargon correctly, even crack a few inside jokes. The connection she formed with that audience was instantaneous and powerful. Now, I know what some of you might be thinking. That's all well and good for professional speakers, but how does this apply to me? Well, let me tell you, this isn't just about speeches or presentations. This applies to every interaction in your life. Whether you're pitching a business idea, having a heart to heart with a friend, or even asking someone out on a date, understanding your audience is key. It's about empathy, about truly seeing the person in front of you. Imagine you're trying to convince your boss to green light a new project. Instead of just focusing on what you want, take the time to understand their perspective. What are their priorities? What pressures are they under? What keeps them up at night? By framing your pitch in a way that addresses their specific concerns and goals, you're much more likely to get that coveted yes. Or think about your personal relationships. How often do misunderstandings arise simply because we're not taking the time to truly understand where the other person is coming from? By applying these research techniques to your personal life, you can deepen your connections, resolve conflicts more easily, and create more meaningful relationships. Now let's move on to strategy number 2, active listening. This might sound simple, but it's a skill that many of us need to work on. Jennifer puts it beautifully. Listening isn't just about hearing words. It's about understanding the emotions, the motivations, the unspoken messages behind those words. She shared a powerful technique called the 3 levels of listening. Level 1 is surface listening, hearing the words, but maybe thinking about what you're going to say next. Level 2 is focused listening, really concentrating on what the other person is saying. But level 3, that's where the magic happens. Level 3 is global listening, tuning into not just the words, but the tone, the body language, the energy in the room. Jennifer told me about a time when she was negotiating a major business deal. The person across the table was saying all the right things, but something felt off. By tuning into that 3rd level of listening, Jennifer picked up on the hesitation in their voice, the slight tension in their posture. She realized they had concerns they weren't voicing, so she paused the negotiation and said, "I sense there's something we haven't addressed yet. Can we talk about what might be holding you back?" That moment of insight, born from deep listening, turned the entire negotiation around. The other party opened up about their concerns, which Jennifer was then able to address directly. What could have been a failed deal turned into a long-term, mutually beneficial partnership. Imagine applying this level of listening in your daily life with your colleagues, your loved ones, even strangers you meet. How might it transform your relationships? How might it open up new opportunities you never saw before? But here's the thing about active listening. It's not just about the other person. It's also about tuning into yourself. Jennifer emphasizes the importance of self-awareness in communication. Are you coming from a place of genuine curiosity, or are you bringing hidden biases or assumptions to the conversation? By being aware of your own mental state, you can ensure you're truly open to understanding your audience. Jennifer suggests a simple exercise to develop this skill. The next time you're in a conversation, challenge yourself to learn 3 new things about the person you're talking to. This shifts your focus from what you want to say to what you can learn. It transforms the interaction from a monologue into a dialogue, from a performance into a connection. Now, let's dive into the 3rd and final strategy, flexibility and adaptation. This is where all your research and listening skills come together in real time. Jennifer says the best communicators are like jazz musicians. They have a structure, a melody in mind, but they're always ready to improvise based on what's happening in the moment. She shared a story about a presentation she gave to a group of executives. She had spent weeks preparing, crafting the perfect slides, rehearsing her talking points, but 5 minutes in, she realized her carefully prepared speech wasn't landing. The energy in the room was off. Instead of pushing through with her original plan, she paused, took a deep breath, and said, "You know what? Let's try something different. What's the biggest challenge you're facing right now?" That simple question transformed the entire presentation. Suddenly, the room came alive with discussion. Jennifer adapted her content on the fly, addressing their specific concerns and challenges. What could have been a forgettable corporate presentation became a dynamic, interactive session that led to real solutions. This flexibility isn't just about public speaking, it's a life skill. How often have you been in a conversation where you had a specific point you wanted to make, but you were so focused on getting it out that you missed the cues, that the other person wasn't receptive? By staying flexible, by being willing to adapt your approach based on the feedback you're getting, you can navigate any interaction more effectively. Jennifer emphasizes that this doesn't mean abandoning your message or your goals. It's about finding different ways to achieve those goals, different paths to convey that message. It's about being responsive to your audience's needs and reactions in real time. She shared another example that really drives this point home. Jennifer was once giving a workshop on leadership to a group of nonprofit executives. She had planned a series of theoretical discussions and case studies. But as she started, she noticed that the energy in the room was low. People seemed distracted, even a bit frustrated. Instead of plowing ahead with her plan, Jennifer paused and asked what was going on. It turned out that many of the participants were dealing with a specific challenge: how to motivate volunteers in a time of decreased funding. Jennifer quickly pivoted. She scrapped her original plan and instead facilitated a brainstorming session focused on this exact issue. The result? A workshop that could have been a dud turned into one of the most successful sessions of her career. Participants left with practical solutions to their immediate problems, and Jennifer gained invaluable insights that she could use in future presentations. Now, I can almost hear some of you thinking, does this all sounds great, but I'm not a natural communicator. I get nervous. I stumble over my words. Well, here's some good news from Jennifer. These skills can be learned and improved. It's not about being born a great communicator. It's about practice, about being willing to step out of your comfort zone and try new approaches. She suggests starting small. The next time you're in a conversation, challenge yourself to ask one more question than you normally would. Push yourself to listen a little more deeply. When you're preparing for a presentation, spend a little extra time researching your audience. These small steps over time can lead to massive improvements in your communication skills. But here's the most important thing Jennifer shared with me, and it's something I want all of you to take to heart. Effective communication isn't about being perfect, it's about being authentic. It's about genuinely caring about connecting with your audience, whether that audience is one person or 1,000. When you approach every interaction with curiosity, with empathy, with a genuine desire to understand and connect, that's when the magic happens. That's when you can truly inspire, persuade, and make a lasting impact. Jennifer shared a personal story that really drives this point home. Early in her career, she was terrified of public speaking. She would spend hours memorizing every word of her speeches, trying to craft the perfect presentation. But no matter how much she prepared, her speeches always fell flat. She came across as stiff, inauthentic, disconnected from her audience. The turning point came when she was asked to give a last-minute presentation. She had no time to prepare, no time to memorize. She was forced to speak from the heart, to be real and vulnerable with her audience. And to her surprise, it was the best presentation she had ever given. People connected with her authenticity, her genuine passion for the subject. That experience taught Jennifer a valuable lesson. Perfection is the enemy of connection. When we're too focused on getting everything right, we lose the ability to be present, to be real, to truly connect. So let me leave you with this challenge. In your next important conversation or presentation, I want you to consciously apply these 3 strategies. Do your research, listen actively, stay flexible and adapt. But more than that, I want you to give yourself permission to be authentically you, to speak from the heart, to be vulnerable, to be real. Communication is more than just a skill. It's a superpower. It's the ability to bridge gaps, to inspire action, to create understanding where there was confusion. And with the insights Jennifer Banks has shared, you now have the tools to unlock that superpower. Remember, every interaction is an opportunity to learn, to connect, to make a difference. So I challenge you, go out there and seize those opportunities. Understand your audience, listen deeply, adapt with grace, be authentically you, and watch as your words begin to change the world, one conversation at a time. The world is facing unprecedented challenges: climate change, political division, economic uncertainty. But I believe that at the heart of all these issues is a fundamental breakdown in communication. We've forgotten how to truly listen to each other, how to understand perspectives different from our own, how to find common ground. But imagine a world where we all applied these principles, where leaders truly understood the hopes and fears of those they lead, where we approached every conversation with genuine curiosity and empathy, where we were all willing to adapt our approach, to find new ways to connect and understand each other. That world is possible. And it starts with you. It starts with the next conversation you have. It starts with a commitment to understanding, to listening, to connecting. So I challenge you, take these principles and apply them in your life. Be an audience whisperer in your workplace, in your community, in your relationships. Be the bridge that connects people, ideas, and possibilities. Be the catalyst for the change we so desperately need in this world. Because when we truly understand each other, when we communicate with authenticity and empathy, there's no limit to what we can achieve together. The future is listening. Are you ready to speak its language? Thank you for joining me on this journey of discovery. Until next time, keep communicating, keep connecting, and keep changing the world one conversation at a time. The stage is yours. What will you say?